Welcome to the Get Unbusy podcast. I'm your host, Kate Philpott, and this podcast is all about throwing your busy work out the window. You deserve to stay locked in on the parts of your business that light a fire under your hoo-ha, all right? The passion-driven freedom lifestyle, not being glued to your laptop every waking minute of the day. It's time to build a business that works for you, not one that works you into the ground. So, let's get unbusy, shall we? Hello and welcome back to the Get Unbusy podcast. We have another juicy topic for you today. I'm going to be talking to you about how me, as the 15-hour-a-week girl, started working 12-hour days again, and the deep lessons in relation to that. Now, I'm going to dive right in, because we got no time to waste here, all right? Now, okay, obviously, this is another result of the summit. I just really want to make sure that whenever you, as an entrepreneur, as a creative, take on a big project, that you take it on with the right perspectives and the right expectations so that you don't find yourself in this situation. So, you'll know I am the girl who says you can get more done in less time. I am the girl who says systems can be the fluffy cloud under which you can fall in your business, and they can support you in your time of need, and they can support you when you want to go and focus on these other big projects. Before I hosted my summit in kind of February, March, April, most of May this year, I was in exactly where I claimed to be in business. I was working like 15 to 20 hours a week, really had a handle on things, and things were going well, and I was like craving a little more growth. Hence why I decided it was the time to do the summit. I mean, there were many reasons I decided that. It's a whole other conversation, but I always knew that a summit would be a big project. That's why I didn't do it 3 years ago, 2 years ago, a year and a half ago, a year ago, 6 months ago. Well, kind of started almost 6 months ago, but I finally had the capacity to do it. And to be quite honest, I was sick of putting it off over and over again, because I knew I wanted to someday do it. And I knew it was a big project. That's the main thing I want to get across here. I knew it was big, but guess what? Even though I knew it was big, it was way bigger than I expected it to be. Like, running your first summit is always going to be the hardest one. Doing your first version of anything is always going to be the hardest and the biggest lift, whether it's like running your group program for the first time, hosting a summit for the first time, batch creating a bunch of podcast episodes for the first time. It's always the slowest, the heaviest lift, because you haven't found a groove with it yet. Everything you create is from scratch, and the skill is also not entirely there. So everything is completely new. So yes, in this case, every single thing needed to be created from scratch, even with the support of a program that I invested in that provides all of the templates possible for a summit. So, yes, I had templates, but let's also be honest here. I still needed to be the one to create all of the summit pages on my website, which included the 25 presentation pages, the dashboard page, the schedule page, the bingo page, the meet the speakers page, the speaker info page, the affiliate info page, all of those things. That's just the website. And we also had all of the emails to and from speakers and affiliates, all marketing emails to my email list, all swipe copy for speakers and affiliates, all emails to attendees who had already signed up, all graphics, everything. Absolutely everything. Customer support, email responses even. I could go on. But the point was, even with templates and mentor guidance, there was a lot for one person. So, to be quite honest, I can't even imagine what it would have been like without the templates that I did have. I would have had to cancel, I think, or maybe add like 3 months to the timeline. So, the important context here is that my business was under control before the summit. I was also working 6 hours a week in the gym. At the end of May, I found out that I got a job as an accountability coach for Lifehack Tribe, and I had started booking speakers around the start of May. So basically, it was like, oh, I've got this new job. I have to find my bearings. I'm stretching my capacity for one-to-one because, as you may know, if you're a long time listener of the podcast, a long time. I mean, I only started running this podcast in like March, but anyway, if you've been listening since then, you've probably heard me say that I'm an introvert, and speaking to people one to one is a big energy. I don't even want to say energy drain, but it takes a lot of energy from me. I do my best recharging when I'm literally in a room alone. Like, lock the doors, put me in hermit mode. That's where I thrive. So it was an interesting experience expanding my capacity for one-to-one, having all these one-to-one calls with people and interacting with so many different energies. One thing I am very glad that I did is I did defer the mini mind that I was planning. There was a mini mind that I was planning to do around building scalable group programs, and I even had somebody sign up, place a deposit, and I returned it to her because I was like, okay, this is not happening right now, because while I could have, and looking back, I'm not even sure if I could have, while I had initially planned to be running the mini mind and hosting the summit, running the mini mind, hosting the summit, and starting the new job with all of these one-to-ones was just going to be more than I had the capacity for. So something had to go, and it made sense that it was that. So I spoke all about what I would not do again in last week's episode if I were to run a summit again. And that has a lot of impact on why I ended up working like 12-hour days. So let's just go into the deeper lessons here, okay? I did prove to myself that I can execute massive projects. It's just that this time it came at a huge cost. I knew I could do hard things. I mean, I already knew that. I've done launches, I've done group programs, I've done all the messy back end build outs. A summit was always like next level, and I knew it would be, but the reality was it was about 3 times as much of a heavy lift as I already expected it to be. But side note, she pulled it off. At least she survived. She's here, But also, I don't need to keep proving my resilience over and over again. And I want to pause on that point in case that's something that you need to consider for yourself too. If you find yourself to always be somebody who is busy, and then maybe you reclaim some time, and then you're not busy anymore, but then you pour more stuff into that time, what are you trying to prove? Like, for me, I was like, okay, Kate, I get it. You can white knuckle your way through anything if you really want to, but like, this is not how I choose to live moving forward. This is not how I ever chose to live. It's just kind of, and again, I'm going to allude to like certain points that I made last week about the decisions that I made, that I would have made differently, the things I would have done around my other commitments, the things I would have done around the summit timeline to make it not require literal 12-hour days and weekends. I was working every day of the week, so, the deeper lesson here is that while it might have been a flex in like 2019, 2020, resilience and hustle isn't a fucking flex anymore. The flex is creating results that don't actually sacrifice your health, creating results that don't sacrifice your relationship, your creativity, your sanity. Because yeah, you might survive that massive project, but you're going to exhaust yourself into the fucking ground. And that's not the vibe. That's not the vibe I want. And I presume if you're listening to the Get Unbusy podcast, it's probably not the vibe you want either. I don't want that for you. So that's definitely the biggest point, or the first point even. Resilience ain't no fucking flex. Okay, let's go into our next one. This seems wildly specific, but let me explain. Okay. Templates are great, but they don't replace creativity. As I said, I had access to every single template you could possibly imagine. Summit pages, emails, swipe copy, marketing sequences, dashboards, all of it. And still, I was the one who had to decide everything. Templates don't make decisions for you. They just give you the bones. They give you the structure to work from. You're still the one who's holding the ultimate vision, who's making the decisions, who's formulating the writing, setting the energy, strategizing. And what I realized was tools and templates are powerful, yes, but they're only as powerful as the capacity behind them. I love templates for workload reduction. I love them. You've probably heard me talk about them before, but that's a normal, that's fantastic for normal one person load reduction. This was probably enough work to keep a team of 5 or 6 busy for 4 or 5 months. Not just one person. So that really deepens the understanding of the power of templates. They're a very powerful system for a solopreneur, hence why I recommend them so often, because they do reduce the decision fatigue in a way. Okay, before I even say what I'm about to say, 2 types of templates. One is a template that comes from somebody else, like you've invested in a program and you get these templates to help, like I did with the summit. Another is the template that's personalized to your business, where it's like you literally have the exact thing and you might have to just put in like someone's name and a special link for them. 2 very different types of templates, because the first one, you've still got to do a bit of work to actually get it so that it's useful for you. The second one, yeah, handy. Let's not write all of the things from scratch, right? So, like I said, very powerful system for a solopreneur, templates. But when we're talking about bigger stuff and scaling, like literally not growing a business, scaling a business, templates just don't lift heavy enough. So I will still recommend them to solopreneurs. I will still recommend that they get those templates and they personalize them to their own business, because that's really where they start lifting heavier. So the templates from others lift about 5 kilos for you. Let's just put it into weights, like weightlifting terms. They lift about 5 kilos. Templates that you've personalized to your business lift about 15 kilos. Automations lift about 20 kilos. SOPs probably lift about 10 kilos if you use them on your own. Like if you write your own SOP and you have it in front of you while you complete a task. But if you delegate and give the other person, if you delegate a task, like outsource a task and give that person an SOP, that SOP now lifts like 50 kilos. So that's definitely the most powerful. It's just that there's different systems for different stages of business that are going to have a bigger effect. You know, the 50 kilo SOPs that you're using to outsource might not make sense for you if you're a solopreneur and you're getting your income to a point where it's more, you know, coming in more consistently and actually getting you places, you know. But a template, which is super low ticket or free, yeah, that's going to be helpful. Next lesson here is that every yes requires many no's. Not just one no, many no's. I thought I was being smart here. I said yes to the summit. I said yes to the Lifehack Tribe job. And I said no to the mini mind that I was going to run at the same time. Whoop-de-fucking-do. But in reality, we know now every yes requires many no's, not just one. What I didn't account for was that saying yes to the summit was also, by default, saying no to my consistency going to the gym, saying no to my creative writing time, saying no to my study hour in the morning that I love so much, saying no to my relationship, saying no to my mindset hour in the morning that I love so much. And they weren't conscious no's. They were just squeezed out because there was no more space kinds of no's. The lesson here is, something that I'm spending more time thinking about recently is we need some form of a capacity budget. You've got a certain amount of capacity you can give. Just like we can budget money, we need to be budgeting our time, energy, and focus. Because otherwise, we're going to keep learning the hard way that one more yes, just one more, yes, I'll say yes because I'm going to people please, or I'll say yes because this is going to be the thing that's going to get me to the next level. Whatever the yes is, it's going to cost you 5 invisible no's. So let's be intentional with each yes. I talk all the time about reduce your task list, like get that off your task list, put it to next week, delete it, put it into your someday list, and all of that. And I fully stand by that. The intention behind your no's are super important, but that's fueled by the intention behind your yeses. So I'm just going to leave that there. What are you saying yes to that isn't fully intentional? Okay, now let's go into the hardest pill to swallow, is that momentum. I love a bit of momentum. It's not built in sprints. I did the 90-day sprint. I did the long days, the late nights. I did the working at the weekend, every weekend. I did the sorry I can't, I'm busy texts, which is so funny because I always make fun of that. And yes, the summit got done, but I came out the other side completely flattened. My relationship, I became very distant because I was so deeply in my masculine with all of the doing energy that I just couldn't be present. It's like I forgot to have emotions. I didn't know how to feel emotions anymore because I was just so in the doing and in the masculine. My health and fitness took a back seat, and I put on about 10 pounds because I was doing a lot of comfort eating because I was so survival mode, and I was doing very little weightlifting. Although I did swap weightlifting for running because it was quicker. I just don't have to drive to the gym, and energy wise it gave me a good boost while I was needing it. My creativity literally went to zero. So it really just clarified we've got to work in a way that includes connection, that includes recovery, creativity, and fun, even if it's in a big push season. Because that is what keeps you magnetic. And that's what makes it feel like a more to life business rather than a more stuff to do business. That is the note I'm going to leave you on today. I hope you have a wonderful week. Let me know what resonated with you from this topic, and I promise I'm going to shut up about the summit now. I think I'm ready to move on with my life, and I've got some banging episodes in the pipeline for the next couple of months. So let's keep moving forward, and I'm so excited to do life with you all. And yeah, let me know which of these lessons made you go, So just as an overview, we have that I proved to myself that I can execute massive projects, but resilience is not a fucking flex anymore. We have templates don't replace creativity. There's different types of systems, and they each lift different weights in terms of your workload. The next is that every single yes requires many no's, not just one. And then momentum isn't built in sprints. And that if we're not working towards a more sustainable way of business, literally what are we doing? We can't hustle our way out of hustle. It doesn't make sense. You will hustle your way so hard to the point where you have less work to do that all you know is more hustle, and you'll just see the empty space in your calendar as an opportunity for more hustle. That is not what we're doing here. All right. Go have a wonderful week, and I will chat to you very soon. Make sure you're following on Instagram at More to Life Kate and subscribe to the podcast on your favorite podcast platform. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, and YouTube. And I will chat to you next Wednesday. Bye. All right, gorgeous. That's a wrap on today's episode of the Get Unbusy podcast. If you got some juicy golden nuggets from this episode, I want to hear about it. So take a screenshot, share it on your Instagram stories, and tag me at More to Life Kate, because your girl wants to know. And remember, you're an absolute powerhouse. You can create the life you've been dreaming of, and I can't wait to see you pop off. Chat to you soon. Bye.